Hello, wonderful people of the internet. It is Narishma here with another video, and I know I've been a bit lost recently, but I am back with my reactions and thoughts of this latest episode of The Wheel of Time. It's been a bit controversial, and I have some mixed feelings about it, but hopefully I'll get them across, and I'll see if you agree or disagree. I've seen a lot of conversation on Twitter, which has been both good and bad, so let's get to it. The first thing I love from this episode is the opening scene. We get to see Siuan and her father. We immediately get a change here there from Tyr, and I think we get to see the Stone of Tyr, and I actually don't like the design, but I hope we get another view of it, and we will eventually, of course, but I hope we get to that stage where we get like season 3 or season 4. But yeah, I think we see the Stone of Tyr, so that was amazing. And but yeah, the whole scene, it was so perfectly executed. The acting was great, and I think it sets up Siuan very well, because then you get the change. You come from like being very poor, and then you're like, bam, you're the Armelin seat. It's so cool. So I really like that scene, and that's one of the scenes that stands out even after I saw the entire episode. Then we get the fallback from what happened in episode 4, which in my opinion shouldn't have happened immediately after episode 5, but we got it here. But I really enjoyed Alvaro Morte's performance. Like, I think if we have one positive here from the show, it's that the performances are so great across the board, whether it's Rosamund, whether it's Alvaro, whether it's Kate Fleetwood, who plays Leandrin. And in this episode, my God, it was just completely stolen over by Sophie Okonedo, and her Siuan was so perfect. And this scene between Okonedo and Alvaro was so epic. Like, the acting was so on point, and I enjoyed it so much. I just wanted to give Logain a hug. Like, I felt so bad for the guy. And, I mean, Sophie Okonedo, like, holy crap, like, her performance in this episode was probably the best performance of the show so far. And again, like, we're going to get into the Moraine and Siuan bit that I loved, but the acting, the interplay between Rosamund and Sophie was like, damn, even if this episode is controversial, like, everyone has to acknowledge the performances are just so great across the board. And that Logain scene at the beginning of the episode was like a standout. And then we get more of the politics of the White Tower, Leandrin pulling some strings, getting Moraine into trouble. And then we get a really weird shot, which I actually didn't like at all, when Moraine like bows down to Siuan. She does, I don't know, it's just like shot in a very like corny way. It gave me the same corny vibes that the Parent Golden Eyes gave me in the previous episode. Like, I like what's happening, but I don't like the way it's being shot. And there's some like corny elements here and there in the show, and I know I'm not bashing on it, but it's just how it is. You know, you got like this really, it looked like they kind of cut frames, and then they just fast forwarded the way she bowed down, and it looked really silly in my opinion. But yeah, after that scene with Moraine, we get another scene with Moraine, and she basically checks on Matt, and she does one of the most controversial things in this episode, which I did not really like, and I'll get to the reasons why, but that is the healing of Matt. And apart from, like, Matt is healed in book 2 or book 2, I believe, right? So, or book 3, I actually don't remember, but Matt takes a long time to get healed, and I'm okay with speeding up the process, but Matt gets healed by like a group of 13, and he's just healed here by Moraine. So that was like, okay, sure, I get it. It looked awesome. Like the venom symbiote thing was coming out of him, and it was a really nice way to visualize the evil from the dagger. But I didn't really, you know, I wanted to see like a bunch of Aes Sedai coming in and having to heal him, so you would build up this evil that's alongside this different evil, that's the dark one. But, you know, I get why they did it. But the thing that I don't like is that they healed him in this episode, and then fast forwarding to the end of the episode, which we'll talk more a bit later on, but they just he stays behind. And if some leaks are to be believed, like this is your leak warning, that's the last time we're going to see Barney Harris. So it's a strange decision for me. Like, why would you heal Matt to then just like cut him out in the next episode, and then like, why wouldn't you just like push it back to season 2? I don't know if I'm getting that thought across. If someone has a theory on why they didn't do it, but yeah, I think this is where the recasting issue comes to light, because clearly I think they had more set up for Matt, even though he doesn't have a huge role to play, because I think story-wise cutting him from the final 2 episodes works, because he really doesn't do much in the finale of the first book. But why would you heal him, right, to then cut him out for the final 2 episodes? I don't know if there's a reason, but I think it's just plainly because of the recasting issue. And that's the way they decided to like let go of Barney. So rip Barney. He was a great Matt. So I'm really sad, but looking forward to the next Matt. Then we get a scene between Nynaeve and Egwene, and Egwene, that relationship is building. They've had some tender scenes in the previous episodes, but this scene, Moraine was like, "Oh no, I'm Moraine, and your wisdom, you don't show it." You know, I really enjoyed that line. It's not exactly how it says, but I really enjoyed that line. Then we get more Moraine and Siuan stuff than we've ever gotten, because their relationship was mentioned in New Spring, and it was hinted at in the books, but it was never like explicitly shown, and this is explicitly showing it, and I'm glad they are. And the scene was so good. I mean, one of the points that I saw someone on Twitter point out, and I can't remember who exactly, but they said that like this show has portrayed sexuality in a way that doesn't seem exploitative, and I completely agree. Like, it was very respectful the way it was shot, and I don't think it was done for like any shock value or anything. The bathtub scene, kind of, but not really. Yeah, the sex scene was like done very well in my opinion. Nothing that was like, oh my god, like in your face for shock value purposes. Now, in this scene, they talk about one of the things that is the most controversial in my opinion. They said that the Eye of the World is the prison to the Dark One, and I immediately went like, what? And I don't know, I'm still wrapping my head around this, but Siuan says it, so okay, maybe we're getting some of that unreliable narrator. But if Siuan says it, Moraine doesn't push back, and Moraine's supposed to have been in the Eye of the World previously, so they're probably just cutting that out, which is a bummer, I think, but it's not a huge cut, so I don't mind really. But what I do mind is like, the Eye of the World isn't the Dark One's prison. Like, what are you doing? It's probably a trap or something like that. They're going to play like, oh, we misinterpreted, and they're just going to leave out the story bit that Moraine had been to the Eye of the World before. But, in the moment, I was like, what? What are they doing? I do not understand. No entiendo. But yeah, I was very confused. And that was like the first moment that I've been like, I'm not a book purist at all. I'm a cinema guy. I understand that adaptations need to be different from the books. But this was like the first time that I went like, what are you doing? I kind of almost lost it for a bit. But yeah, I want to let it play out, and I'm not doing any judgment. But also, I would have liked Matt to be there at the finale to get some scenes that happen at the beginning of book 2. But now that he's not there, like, are they going to skip the scenes where Rand basically confronts them and they split ways? Is that going to happen? I hope so, because that's one of my favorite scenes from the books, and it's very heartbreaking. But yeah, then we get some Moraine beating the crap out of Liandrin verbally and using her White Tower manipulation. And I was thinking about this, like, I love that scene, but I think if the show had a bit more of a running time, I think they could have like fleshed out the dialogue instead of just Moraine coming out and saying, oh, I have this dirt on you. Because other shows, and not to compare, but like, for example, Game of Thrones, which thrived in character dynamics, would take like a huge amount of time, like maybe 3 minutes, for this character to be like on a cool monologue, and then eventually like the slap comes, the punchline comes, and the threat is delivered. Here in the show, I felt like it was like, here, it's in your face, and I would have liked to have some more time and have that conversation build up more organically. But that's just a complete nitpick that I'm like throwing at here, which is not really like anything too serious. Then we get the best scene in the episode, in my opinion. Everything that had to do with Egwene, Nynaeve, Siuan, and Moiraine, like those scenes when they go to Siuan's room, which also has a gateway to Rangriel, by the way. That scene was epic. Like I just love Nynaeve so much, and Show Nynaeve is like instantly likable. Like I've said before, she's instantly likable like from the first episode. But here she goes to Siuan and she's like having this attitude and all this Nynaeve energy, and it's so cool, and it's such a interesting dynamic because Siuan is also like this person who actually like was poor and came from nothing. So having Nynaeve think she's like all this high and mighty and not knowing the story and being like very prejudiced in a way it's a really cool dynamic, and I really loved the scene. And there's like a great meme running out there. I think I'm gonna put it right here in the video, that it's like Siuan says, "Oh, you're like the most powerful channeler in 1,000 years," and Egwene's all like, "Oh yeah, I'm super strong," and then she says Nynaeve, and Egwene's like, "What?" That was probably my favorite moment in the episode. A bit of a comedic beat, but very warranted, and it worked for me. And then towards the end, we get Moiraine being basically kicked out of the White Tower, and it was a great scene acting-wise. And that was what I was saying at the beginning of this episode, that the acting here is so good. My only nitpick here, and it's a really stupid nitpick, but it is a nitpick. Like, if they are trying to hide their relationship, I think Siuan was like crying in the middle of the hall. So I think she was doing a terrible job at like not showing everyone around her that they're in a relationship. I thought she should have been playing that a bit more poised than she was in the show. But I do understand it's a show and you need to show these emotions. So like it worked completely and the performances were like amazing. But I think like character-wise, if they wanted to stick it a bit closer to the books, like she would have probably been more like stone-faced and like not show as much emotion as she did in the TV show. But again, the scene was amazing. I love the bit where all the Aes Sedai turn away. That was great. And then we get to the Waygate, and I have some thoughts on the Waygate. Like, first of all, like, I know Loyal is there to guide them in the ways, but Loyal no longer has like a rolling opening the Waygate or anything like that. They just open it with a one power, which is like weird because is it necessary to use the one power to open Waygates now? Like, it opens up like this huge can of worms. Like, can normal people open gateways? Or is it only Aes Sedai? I thought that probably since this Waygate is close to the White Tower, maybe like it's able to like open with the one power. That's my theory, at least. But I don't know. It was weird. Like, how is Fane gonna like follow them through the ways? Is if he does, like, book spoilers. But it's kind of weird. I don't know what to think. I didn't really like it. I thought like the Waygate itself was gonna have some weird animation. I saw the leaks and I saw the picture of like the opening, but I still thought like the Waygate was going to have some sort of animation, especially since Amazon was like, marketing the gateway as the official hashtag of the show. I thought it was going to move or do something cool, but it didn't do that at all. So yeah, I'm a bit disappointed with that. Again, as I previously mentioned, I absolutely hate the change of Matt staying behind. Like, what was the point of healing him if he's just going to stay behind and play no part in the foreseeable future? Like, you just, for the non-viewers, you just clearly eliminate one of the people that could be the Dragon Reborn. And then for non-book fans, it's like, what? Okay, sure. But it also shows like it's clearly a recasting issue, because if you go back and watch the scene, it's very poorly edited. Like, Matt just looks like he's staring out at nothingness. Like, it looks like they kind of had like Matt's stock footage and they just put it in so like to show a reaction shot, but it was like really poorly edited, and it was kind of, in my opinion, clearly like one of the reshoots. So yeah, I don't know, I didn't really like that change. So again, lots of stuff I like, lots of stuff I don't like, but hey, I'm just waiting for the episodes to drop, waiting for the series to end, like the first season, and then I'm going to have my full thoughts. This is just like rambling reactions coming off the episode. I haven't watched it more than than I have already. I will do some rewatches to see if it like sits better, the changes sit better on me. But yeah, this was kind of like the first episode that I've kind of been like a small hater on it. But yeah, what did you think of the episode? Am I crazy? Am I not crazy? Please leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some more episodes soon so we can talk about the Wheel of Time. So I'm probably doing another video after this video, so stick around for that too. Please remember to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, enemies, anyone, and yeah, see you on the next episode.